Hi, hello everyone. To this week's hangout, I'll go over the wealth planning model, which is a key systems within Timely Wealth that help you to plan. And as in any system in Timely Wealth, this is a system that you can try to provide you with the maximum flexibilities so that you can use it along with other systems that you have, or in terms of, say, how do you schedule your work, how do you execute your work, and then how do you plan in general on what you're going to do in a particular week or day and so on. And this wealth planning model is focused on, you can think of it more like a product development project. How do you develop things and get really detailed into it, and then also provide you a systematic way to iterate it to give the to get the maximum result. So let's quickly dive into it. So first of all, in this presentation, I'm using the application called Xmind, and this is the application that I use for myself, and it's free, and you can download it here. You go to www.xmind.net, and you can see it over here. And it is a pretty beautiful mind mapping program. It is free. It have a paid version, but you don't really have to use it. You can just download the free one. So this is xmind.net, and this is the program. And I have created a template myself. So if you don't know what template means, you can kind of skip it. It's basically meaning when you create a new mind map, there are many templates that you can choose. Like you can see over here: marketing, negotiation of sales, or employee, and so on. And I have created this wealth center template that I use. So before I get in, I want to describe what a wealth center is. And for people who don't know, wealth center, it has a definition over here. Wealth center is something that one or more producers can add value to, which in turn provide value to one or more consumers. It might sound at the beginning kind of into weird, why is it shaped this way? But it's have a pretty good reason for it, and I will detail it in my book, and so I won't go into it in this hangout. So you can think of it as anything that you're going to create or you're going to develop, which in turn will get the value that you want. For example, like last time in one of the hangout section, I talked about I want to have an egg for breakfast, right? And you can't really get an egg. You need to create something. You need to acquire something, in this case, money. And how do you acquire it? How do you the money in your bank account, right? How do you create the money or acquire the money? So there's a plan involving that, which in turn allow you to have the money and buy an egg for yourself. And another example is, for example, this hangout. So I can use this hangout as an example. So, and this hangout has, the reason for me to create this hangout is not really for the hangout itself, not for the sake of creating it itself. It doesn't mean anything. Is through this hangout, I can share my knowledge on this wealth planning model to you, so that you can learn it and able to apply it in your life, which helps you in improving your efficiency, for example. So that's why it is faced this way. The wealth center is something, in this case, the hangout is something that one or more producers, which is me in this case, and can add value to. The value is the education, and which in turn provide the values to one or more consumer, which is you who is viewing this video. So It is a 9-step process. So what you need to do, you can see that there's a producers, consumers, designs, concern, needs, visions, solutions, components, MVPs, accountings, and milestones. And actually, there's one more thing that I would like to add later on, but let's start with this 9 and give you a brief understanding on what they are. So producers is the person or entity who can actively involved in contributing or creating the wealth center. So again, use this hangout as example. The producer will be me or any of my friends who contribute in the developing the idea of timely wealth, and in turn, which I can use to create this hangout and share the information to you. So, and then consumer obviously is someone who would consume this hangout with this wealth center, and you were able to get some value out of it. And the desires and concern is talk about what's both the producers and the consumers want from this wealth center, and what do they don't want, what their concern is. And the reason is, well, it will list here instead of directly under producers and consumer is for purpose of prioritization, and it will see if we can get to that, because as I mentioned, I want to keep the hangout in stick to 20 minutes. So if we run over that, I will break it this hangout into 2 sessions. So the 4th item is what's needed. So needs are the things that needed to fulfill the desires and address the concern. So for example, in the hangout, I should have started typing it. So one thing I need is I need to have a Google Plus account, for example, right? I need to have the MyMap application ready, all right, of course. And I need to, for example, I need to have a scheduling the hangout and then share with you and things like that. While the concern, let me fill it in, is, for example, as a producer, my concern will be how many people would actually, for example, watching this, right? Because if there are more people watching this, the message will go to more people and it will have a bigger impact, right? And another thing is how do I perform, right? Do I speak clearly, and do I get my idea across, and so you can understand it? And then for the consumer, you can think of, say, for example, what's in it for me, right? And do I have time to view this hangout live, right? Or can I access it later? Right. So these are all the desires and concerns, and you can expand on it. And here I'm just giving you a brief example. So this is desires, concerns, needs, and the vision is basically saying how would the wealth center looks like if there's no limit on resources, and how would it look like when we can say there's no further development needed. So basically, it's the ideal world. What's the best case would be? Many, I would say, for example, many viewers attend, right? And contribute their ideas, and many viewers would find this hangout useful and able to learn something, hopefully critical, or if very important, something new. Right. So this is the vision, how I want it to be planned out. And for example, I would able to stay on time, for example. and you can liberate it a little bit. And so that's the vision. So after you plan your vision, so it goes through a sequence like this, from the producers, consumers, and then after you identify those, then you think about for each producers and each consumer what's their desires and concern. And by the way, this can be used in a group meeting. So you don't necessarily have one producers, right? For example, you have a team of developers. So you get in together, and all the developers, and including your boss and some product management, for example, they are all included as a producer because they would have something to say or some value they can add to the web center. And while the consumer, it could be attribute contribute to, but the main thing that's more passive and able to get the main benefit out of it. And then from there, you go for a design and so on. So, and then from there, after you have developed your vision, then you go to find a solution or come up with a solutions that can realize this vision, fulfill these needs, fulfill the needs, and address all the desires and concerns. And you can have multiple solutions, right? Then in that case, it is just a proposal, right? You can have multiple proposals, and in each proposals, it could contain the ideas of the proposals and also include a collection of other wealth centers. What does it mean is because again, I apologize. In this hangout, we basically will focus on this XMind to go through the process, and probably we will do it next time because we already 10 minutes in the hangout to go through what does this really means, other wealth centers, because it is a very very important concept that I would like to share with you, meaning that for each wealth centers, it could have multiples of other wealth centers that contribute into the wealth centers here that provide the values the consumers want. And they could be included over here, and that's how you orchestrate when you have multiple wealth centers interconnected together. Then you start to realize that how comprehensive this solution is and able to uncover all aspects of your life, of everything. So it is a very powerful concept that helps you to manage or plan your whole, quote unquote, your whole life. Okay, and in timely wealth, that's what's called the wealthy game. So when you come up with the solutions, then the next part is the MVP. MVP stands for minimum viable product. It derives from the on the software or on the technology field, what's called the lean startup concept. And what it means, they are deliverables. So they are some things that you create and deliver to your consumer that allows the producer to validate the correctness of the hypothesis made, meaning here the target consumers. When we plan this out, are the consumer we list here are the real consumers that we are targeting. The desires and concerns, do the desires and concerns we list here are true, and also do the prioritization of their desires and concerns align with what they actually are. Because when the prioritization changes, your direction changes, right? And in order to provide the best value, we need to have both the desires and concern correct and the prioritization correct, so that we can deliver the most value to the consumers with the minimal effort we put in. So the third thing is what do they need? So it refer back to here. What kind of things that do we need? Do the wealth center need in order to fulfill the desires to address them? Okay. The fourth thing is the validity of the vision. So is this correct? Is this true? Is this what it really will look like? And should we change our visions if we find out otherwise? You know, what's the consumer's expectation if when they look at these wealth centers, what do they really want? Right. And the fifth one is the response to a specific solutions. You have developed one or multiple solutions, and you want to see are the solutions developed correctly. The assumptions made or the product, the value they provide align with what the consumer really wants. So MVP are used to do all this validation. And once you're able to do this validation, you gain insight to your consumers, and you were able to develop a much better product. And in this, in the wealth center in the wealth center standpoint, the product is not really anything just tangible, like I mentioned, a software or even your bank account, and it could be a relationship. It could be even a conversation. It really could be anything, as long as it is something that, go back to here, something that one or more producers like this, that can add value to one or more producers. Okay, the one or more I was highlighting the wrong thing. Just say again. As one or more producers that can add value to, which in turn provide values to one or more consumers. So even a conversation, it could be mutually beneficial, right? Well, after the conversation, you and the people you're talking to would get something out of it. So in that sense, wealth center is really a very broad idea, and that's why this wealth planning model is very, very powerful, because you can look at your life, look at basically everything in your life, and you can use the same model to do the planning. Okay, so let's get back to here, the MVPs. So you say the MVPs, it can be itself can be a wealth center or a wealth center component, and which can plan. Can be a wealth center. Okay, maybe I have a typo here. Right now, I can't remember what it means, but I could fix it up. So basically, it was saying the MVP itself, it can be a wealth center itself, or it can be a part of a wealth centers. So what it means is, for example, I have this hangout. Okay, this hangout, there are several things that you create out of it. This is what right now what I'm going to show you is not a perfect example, but this is what I can think of right now. Say, for example, after the end of this hangout, there will be a YouTube video for this hangout, and you can see. And this is something that would be delivered to you. And another thing is, of course, this wealth center templates, the Mine Wealth Center template. This is something that I have created, which I can share with you, and so that you can utilize it in your own way. And with that being said, if you're interested, just let me know. Again, you can message me in the Google Plus page or in the Facebook page, or you can email me. And since this is on the Timely Wealth, you can email me at Homa, HOMA, at timelywealth.com, TIME Wealth. Do you know how to spell that? So homer@tinywealth.com. So once you just let me know that you want to have this template, and then I will share it with you. So this is what MVP is. And then the next step is defining the accounting. What it means, accounting is not say the financial accounting's accounting, is the accounting is in its general sense, is the accounting is something that measures the success of the wealth center. It's about measurement. So how do I find this hangout will be successful? Again, the number of viewers live, and for example, or the number of viewers per day or per week on YouTube. And if more people coming in and watch this video, then meaning this hangout is a success, for example. And the last step is a milestone. You can I won't get too deep into it because, for one thing, we only have 2 minutes left. But the milestones are checkpoints that validate the wealth center has reached a certain stage. And this should be something that you add pretty much at the very end, and you can, that's why it is at the last step. And you should not really put too much focus into it, because a lot of mistakes, quote unquote, people made, and when they do their planning, is they think about goal and milestone and so on, and just try to achieve it. But the milestone, if you really look at say look it up in dictionary, what does it really means, right? It is a milestone is a road, like say from city A to city B, and in the middle you have multiple milestones to indicate where you are in your journey. And this measurement doesn't give you any actionable items. It's just telling you where you are. And one mistakes a lot of people made is they try to focus on this number. For example, they start a new business, and one of the milestones is reach 100,000 users that use their system. And they try so hard to do that, and try many different things in marketing and so on. But the milestones is very linear or flat, that it doesn't tell you what direction what you should do. It's just a number typically, right? So do not put too much focus into milestones. And as I say here, there are two main purposes. Let me read it out. One, indicates the wealth center is at which stage of its life cycle, so that you can apply different strategies and change in resources based on your wealth sphere of wealth and effort to value ratio. Sphere of wealth is another component of timely wealth, which I won't go into today. Basically, is overall. It's an overall system that you can use to manage your life, quote unquote. And number two is, well, to celebrate when you reach that milestone. And of course, that is it's just help you to boost your morale. Say, yeah, I finally reached that milestone. But note that giving you the producers, it giving you the drive to improve the wealth center is not the purpose of a milestone. That should be a job of accounting MVPs. And since this hangout is just a very brief overview of what the this wealth planning model is, late in the future, I will get deeper into each of this so that you can fully understand what all this means. And you can see that for each items, there is a definition, procedures, and notes, and so on, and you can see it. And for the people who are afraid of calling me, I will click on this one by one right now while I'm talking. at the end of this hangout so that you can take screenshots, what's not, and take a look what they mean. Okay, so that's it for this hangout, and see you next time.